Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Examining the Bible. Now, as we go off into the Bible, there is a couple disclaimers I want to give you at first. Number one, I'm going to be reading the Bible as a non-Christian. So there may be questions, there may be the occasional statement that may offend you if you are a generally religious person. It could offend you, and first and foremost, I want to say it's not intended to offend you. This is my interpretation, and maybe it opens debate, but it's not to offend you. With that being said, another thing that you may have an issue with is I do curse at times. So you may have a problem with the fact that I curse. So I'm telling you these things so you don't waste your time and end up wanting to flag my videos down because you disagree with the way I speak. Now, something else I want to say. I am not one of these anti-religion liberals either. I believe 100% in our Constitution. I believe 100% in your freedom to have your religion. And with that being said, despite me being, I don't want to say a non-believer. I don't want to go that far yet, and I don't want to necessarily say an atheist. But despite me being not a man of faith, I 100% believe in your freedom to have your faith and have the freedom to worship your faith. Now, as many can tell, many could probably tell, I'm a libertarian, which means I'm not wanting to restrict your freedom to do anything. So some of you religious folks that may be watching, calm down. I'm not anti-guns. I'm not anti-freedom. I'm not anti-religion. In fact, I believe in all of it. Like I said, I'm definitely not a liberal, so you ain't got to worry about me bashing the gun-owning religious folks at all. In fact, I think it's a beautiful thing that you people own guns and stick to what you believe in. So, like I said, you may hear the occasional curse word, and you may hear me challenging some things from this or explaining it in my best way. Some of it's to be funny, some of it, I'm a very eccentric person, and the truth of it is, I'm very controversial in many of the ways I say things. It's not to offend you, so please don't take it that way. Now, with that being said, we're going to get started in Genesis. Now, the purpose of all this, now some of you may ask me, okay, have you read the Bible before? Let me tell you, the answer is yes. I've read it about 30 times. My religious background is I was an atheist. I then later went to prison, and I ended up meeting up and studying with a Jehovah's Witness. If you guys know Jehovah's Witnesses, then you know them people like to study. I'd say for about 5 years I studied the Bible and other study guides on a day-to-day basis, many hours out of my day. With that being said, there's just some things that took me away from religion, and I would say that I've had a happier life since I've left religion. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into this because I feel that the best way for anyone to make decisions on their own is to hear multiple viewpoints and actually read the Bible. Because I know a lot of the people that know me maybe didn't see me read the Bible, so they wonder, how can I question it? Well, I'm going to tell you how I can question it. But I'm also going to tell you where I think the Bible may have points, because I'm actually not against the Bible. I think the Bible is a very, very good book. But unfortunately, I believe it's probably a book of fiction. But with that being said, we're going to go right into the Torah. We're going to go right into the first 5 books of the Bible. Many of you guys know it's written by Moses. And we're going to get right in there. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. We're at Genesis chapter 1, in which it says, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and earth." Now, in reference to that, I got to ask how Moses knew. Let's just be honest. I understand that in 1 Corinthians, I think it's 3:16, or 2 Timothy 3:16, that the Bible does say that the word was inspired by God. With that being said, I'm having a little trouble seeing the connection or the proof to that, but we'll get there later. Number 2, Genesis 1:2, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water. So it sounds to me like it's saying the earth was a big ball of water. That's what it looked, a big dark ball of water, with God just floating above the shit. So that's what it sounds like to me. That's the beginning of the earth. That's the beginning of everything. God created the heavens, the earth, and then the earth was a big ball of water with just God floating above it. Tell me if I'm wrong. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. So are we referencing the sun right there? Did God right there, when he said, "Let there be light," create what illuminates us, what gives us light, which is the sun? Is that how that happened? And God saw the light, and that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. So obviously that probably means the beginning of day and night. In fact, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So this is the first day that God created. Now, I want you to remember this, because later on there's going to be controversy over how many hours was in a day, or what does God mean when he says every day, a day, because we're going to talk about this a lot. Right here, I think this connects a day with what we call a day here today, which is 24 hours. The obviously you got the day with the sun, night with the moon. My point that I'm trying to make is, I think this right here gives us an answer for later in the Bible. I think God's definition of day in the Bible is specifically one day. No hidden messages, one day. And then God said, "Let there be firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." I assume maybe we're talking about land here, so that's fine. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. So many of us understand how landmass got here anyway, scientifically. So I don't have really too much to comment on there. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So now we got 2 days in. We're 2 days into the Bible. So we got the sky, the heaven, so to speak, and then we got the bottom, which is, I would assume, the ground and water. Okay, no, land has not appeared yet. Okay, I was wrong there. So literally, we just right now have the heavens, the sky, and water. Okay. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together onto one place, and let dry land appear." And it was so. So right now we're at a stage where land has come. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. Okay. So with that being said, I'm not going to comment too much on that. So right now we're at the creation of the earth, we're at the creation of the waters, so to speak. So I don't really have any way at this stage to counter that. We'll just go with that for now. So now let's move on. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. So now we got vegetation, apparently. Okay. "And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good." Okay. I think I just actually read that. But anyway, so we got our trees, we got our fruit, we got our vegetation, food, And the evening and the morning came. That was the third day. So we're 3 days in. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, which is the star, the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. First of all, the sun is a fucking star. Excuse me. But that, okay, am I missing something here? Is the sun not a star? And why is there no mention of all the other stars? Seriously, why is there no mention of all the other stars that's all over all the galaxies, all over the entire universe? Where are they at? Why do we have no mention of that? And why does it say in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth? And it talked about in Genesis 1, verse 3, chapter 1, verse 3, God said, let there be light, and there was light. So why is it all the way down here and verse 14, now he's creating light? So which one is it? Did he create light in verse 3 or did he create light in verse 14? Come on. Now, that pissed me off actually. And let them be for lights, the firmament in the heaven, to give light upon the earth, and it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater lights, okay, we already did that. And God set them in firmament of the heaven and gave light upon the earth. Okay. We'll keep going here. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness, and God saw it was good. And that was the end of the 4th day. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life, the fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of the heavens. So right now, I guess he's created the creatures in the oceans and the creatures in the skies. Still, I'm wondering where the dinosaurs are. But we'll just roll with that. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. Okay. They did let fowl multiply, and everything did multiply. And the evening was gone. That was the 5th day. Alright. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and the beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. So now we got the land animals. Would this include the dinosaurs? We're going to leave episode 1 right here. I would like to know, does this include the dinosaurs? Let me know. When did the dinosaurs get included? Because right now it would seem like it would be right here. Which is kind of confusing considering what's coming up next. So, we'll leave it right here. The animals have been created. We're getting up. And remember, it said all these creatures that was just created were created after his kind, his own kind. Okay, where was the starting example? What do you mean they were created after their kind? Who's the original cow that you speak of? Is there a cow god? Now I'm getting pissed because this shit's starting to goof around. So I'm asking you, YouTube. I'm asking you out there, everybody out there. Can you explain any of the questions that I've asked so far? Can you give me a little input? Because right now, just in the first 25 verses, I see some issues. We got a long book to read here. This is going to be a long series. Thank y'all for watching, man. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe, do all that, and let's talk about this. Please don't flag the videos. Don't be a bitch about things. Let's discuss this. I'm sure a lot of you people, you run away from these questions, so I'm sure you'll try. That's okay. I'll make backups. Anyway, with that being said, this is episode number 1 of Examining the Bible's Fuckery. Holla at y'all next time. Peace.